All right, crafty friends. So we're going to do something a bit different today, and I have no idea if this is going to work, but a few people have asked me how I set up my workflow for memory planning and Lightroom and all sorts of things. And there are tons of videos out there on how to do this. I am not I'm not a Photoshop expert. First of all, I'm not a Lightroom expert. I am slowly teaching myself how to do this. But I figured I'd show you kind of how I start before you see the pictures and everything printed on the page. So before I even start doing anything, I like to pull all my photos into Lightroom and edit it. So here is my you guys, this is like real behind the scenes. Here's my Lightroom library. And what I like to do is here, I go to my photos, I sort them by date, and then I can further collate them into January photos. And then from here, I could even do January day of the week. Like if I want to see all the pictures, I hope there's nothing terrible in here. I probably shouldn't be clicking on stuff. But if I want to see all the pictures I took on, thankfully it was just a few screenshots that day. I was like, I don't know what you guys are going to see. But if I wanted to see all the pictures I took on that day, then I could do that. And then I could hit Command and select multiple days. And then here's all the pictures I took on the 6th and the 7th. So let's say I wanted to do, so I'm setting up for, memory planning week 4. So whatever days week 4 were, I selected all those days, and then from those days, I came up with the pictures that I wanted to do. And so I have a weekly memory planning folder, and then in each weekly in the folder I have albums. So like I already did week 2, so you've seen these already, and then I was working on week 4. So from Lightroom up here, I went in and I corralled all the photos that worked out in that week that I wanted to put in my weekly memory planning and put them in this album. And then from Lightroom, you can quickly edit photos. So if you just double tap the photos, you can I like to cheat here because I'm not a photo editor by any stretch. This is a bad picture because it's a screenshot. But like from here, I went in and I just added some exposure, up the contrast, up the shadows, the whites, and then I went in and upped the saturation, and I changed some of the like reds and everything to get the picture to look the way I want it to. And Lightroom, I know I'm not using the right terms, but Lightroom like saves a copy of your edit over the original photo, so it doesn't alter the raw photo data. I know there are better terminology for what, for this particular thing. I don't know them. I'm just walking you through what I do know. So from here, wow, I just locked my screen. Sorry. Hot corners are going to be the death of me. I'm still learning hot corners. But from here, I went in and I edited each picture individually, and these are the pictures that I'm going to put in my weekly memory planning spread. Like this was a picture straight from Instagram. This is me hanging out with Noah, my sister and Noah, me scrapbooking. Like week 4 was a relatively everyday week. Like I went to Michael's, I had some macarons, I took a picture at work, whatever. So here are my photos for the week. So after I have my photos for the week, I go into Photoshop. And then Photoshop, if you go to the home button, Photoshop, because I use the Creative Cloud subscription and it's connected to Lightroom, I can access my Lightroom photos straight from Photoshop. I don't have to open them up anywhere. So you see right here, I have my folder with my weekly memory keeping photos. I can go to week 4 and then just, hit Command or Control. I'm adjusting to Mac buttons, but again, I'm sure there are easier ways to do all of the things that I'm doing. I'm just telling you how I do it. And then I open all those photos, and then those are my photos for the week. So now it's importing them from Lightroom into Photoshop where I can work on them. And the good thing is, because I edited them on Lightroom, the edited copies are what comes into Photoshop. So I don't have to actually edit them again. So now I have my, oh, it wants me to edit this. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to hit open it. I've edited it already. It's giving me the option to edit it again. I've edited it already. Okay, now it's going to be misbehaving because everybody's watching what I'm doing, but whatever. I'm going to individually go in and open all these photos. It's giving me the option to edit them again, which I'm not doing because I edited it already. But after, okay, so now you get to watch me open each and every one of these photos. This is how you know I've never done this before, because probably could have had this situated better so you don't have to watch. But if I wanted to edit it further, I could edit it here. That's what it's giving me the option to do. I'm okay with the edits I've made. Again, they're probably not the greatest, and I'm sure other people would do better things with these, but this works for my workflow and helps me get these pages into my album, which is the point of this project, is to get these memories told. Okay, so now that I have all my photos, here's the other thing that I did before turning on this like screen capture, whatever. I wanted to use the Studio Calico Bookish documenter kit for this week. I actually had the physical kit, so I went in and I just got the digital cards, and that is what I'm using to document this week. So I went in and I pulled out all of the cards that I wanted to use, and I will show you quickly, just show you where my cards are. So I keep all of my digital kind of stuff sorted in this hybrid folder, which is where I keep everything. This is my external, which is where pretty much everything crafting related lives. And then here are the Studio Calico cards, and they have them in individual PNGs, and you see you have the A folder and the B folder. And so I went in and I just picked out the cards that I liked. And I also went in and did my journaling already. So the cards that I'm going to be printing blank, I left. Here's a card that I did my journaling. I just typed right on the card and then merged the layer so it's one complete card. So that is what I did to get ready. I have all my cards here ready, and I have all my photos. So the template that I'm using is from Shannon Pages. I use this for week 2, and I like it because it's a generic, it's a blank template. So here's the thing, here's how the template comes, because Shannon is a digital scrapbooker. So you could leave this template, or you could do a few things. So what I did the first time was I went in and I just turned all of this stuff off. All the stuff that I knew, like I'm not documenting my dinners. I turned all of this stuff off so that when I was ready to print it, I even turned all the dates off because I knew I wanted to stamp. So you literally just go in layer by layer and click this tool until everything is off. The only thing I left on was I gotta go further back. The only thing I left on was the grid. So I left the grid and the mats. I left the grid and the mats on, and everything else I turned off. So here's where you're starting. So you can do one of two things with this memory planning page. You could go in and take your stuff individually and bring them in. So if you hit this Command A, Command C, or Control C, you click on the layer you want it to be in and you paste it. And when you paste it, it pastes it directly on top of the layer. Then you hit Command T, Control T. With the Shift key, you resize it so that it fits in this layer. So I am just going in and resizing it. Now with these 3x4 cards, they don't fit perfectly in these layers. So like you got to do You got to do a little bit of like adjusting to make these things fit. So again, and there's probably easier ways of doing this. This is just the way that works for me. Now, when it's over the box, you hit Command Option G, and that, I have to place it first. Then I hit Command Option G, and that creates a clipping mask. And you see, so now it's in this particular photo mat, and it's masked in there, so it's now the size of the photo mat. And you can do this for each photo and go in. I'll do a picture just so you can see. So same thing, you go in, you grab a picture. I'm not going to do that screenshot because that's going to take me too long to resize before you guys can see it. But like, let's say I got this picture of Michael. So same thing, Command A, Command C, you drag it back here, you paste it. It's now huge. So, and then you got to like resize it. And this is going to just take forever. The thing I've learned is when resizing things, it's holding down the Shift key keeps the original ratio of the picture. Now with the pictures, it doesn't really matter so much if they're not the exact size, because I'm okay with them being cropped down a little as long as you can see the detail of the picture. So you can see that it's a picture of Michael's. It's not the exact size of the original, but it's a picture of Michael's. So you could do this for each element. I don't do it this way though, because I like to arrange everything on the page before I stick things down. And when you do it this way, you are limited to situating things exactly where it's going to go on the page. So what I did was I actually went in and I turned all of this off. Like I literally turned every single layer off until I just had the grid. So I'm just going to do that. I turned every layer off, and I did this for the left and the right side. And I did this until I had the grid. And then what I did, I need to turn one of these back on. I actually selected this and I made a sheet of just the rectangles. So I took one of those blue rectangles so it's sized perfectly, and I made a sheet of just one of those blue rectangles, and then I did exactly what you see me do for the template. I dragged one over here, I pasted it, resized it. So we're just gonna go step by step. So with these memory planning pages, there is a little bit of work that's involved to get ready. But they're so much fun to make that I don't mind the work that it takes. Okay, so here it is. I've gotten it. Command Option G. It's clipped in the wrong layer. Okay. So that was a bad example because the first thing you have to do, which I always forget to do, is make sure that you have the layer. Okay, Photoshop, stop playing with me. The first thing you have to do is make sure that you have the layer selected that you want to mask the photo in. So that's what I forgot to do, was select that layer. So again, I am learning and we are learning together, but a few people have asked how I've made these templates work, which is how I'm showing this to you. So hopefully the footage of like actually making this layout together won't take too long, since it's taking me this long just to put the photos. But see, there you go. Now I have my photo. So the other thing I like to do is I like to have, what was I saying? The other thing I like to do is I like to have a mix of horizontal and vertical photos together. So I have these two layers next to each other. So I'm going to put them next to each other so that they're touching. And then I'm going to select both layers, hit Command E, and now it is one layer. So you see I can move this around, it is one layer. And then if I was gonna take a 4x6 card or a 4x6 photo and mask it in there, it fits in the boxes, and now it's part of, now it's a horizontal photo and it has the same dimensions of these vertical photos. And that's what I do. I do a sheet of just cards and a sheet of just photos, and then I print that out. So the cards I print on the matte photo paper, and the photos I print on photo paper. And then after this, I just take this into, so let's see if I can find one so you can see what it looks like. Oh, here we go. So this is week 2. So week 2 cards. If it opens, Photoshop open. Here we go. So this is what I did. I had all my cards for week 2 on one, and then I had another one with all my photos, just printed this out, and then cut this down with my trimmer, and then went to work arranging the spread. So you could do this either way. I prefer it this way because I like to be able to move the cards around and decide where I want to put things down before I stick it in, and I think it's just easier to have them all on a sheet. So you see I have the 2 landscape ones, and I had 2 landscape photos. I think it's just easier to put it all down on a sheet than having them in the template. But if you're a digital scrapbooker, you could totally, I gotta find the template so I can show you the right side. Where's the template? So here's the right side of the template. You could just easily, like, you know, put your stuff in here, mask this, and print this, or you can do it either way. The point is making this work for you so that you tell your stories in a meaningful way that means the most to you. So I hope this helped you guys, because after this, I'm just going to go ahead and arrange my photos and my cards, and then we'll come back and you'll see how I put the spread together. All right, crafty friends, so let's switch gears and actually work on making the spread. You got to see the behind the scenes, sort of like the workflow I have to when it comes to assembling a memory keeping spread like this, and I hope that was helpful, so you kind of have an idea of what I do behind the scenes before I actually get to putting things on the paper. And now we're actually putting things on the paper, and I left a lot of this in so you guys can kind of see how I balance a spread. And this is what I meant by I don't like to arrange the things in Photoshop on my spread, like the individual elements like the photos and the cards, because I like to be able to move things around once it's all printed. And if you're doing the layer template the way it's designed, like if you're you know, masking individual photos, you're resizing the journal card, you're doing all the things you have to do, and then you don't like where you put the card, then you kind of have to go back and do it all over again. So for me, for my workflow and the way I like to do things, it is easier to have everything kind of printed out and on the, like, have the physical bits and pieces printed out. Like, you guys, look at what I do with that left side a million times, because on the right side, I ended up with every other photo and journaling card, and that all worked out. And then when it came to the left side, I ended up with one more journaling card than a photo, which means that 2 cards eventually end up touching. And look at how much I fuss with that to end up with the way I like it. And then I end up moving it again. And so for me, it is personally easier to just print out all the bits and pieces and then arrange it on a card. And so now that I've arranged it on a card and I took the picture like I did last week, I arranged everything and then I took the photo of how I liked it laid out. Now I'm working on my stamping. And so I have this mini dated stamp from Elle Studio. This was actually a free gift for subscribers in January. So I do not know if it's available for purchase, but like I do every single time, I will happily check the Elle Studio website. And if it is available for purchase, I will link it in the description box. Also, I'm stamping with my Versafine ink. I am learning that Versafine is my favorite ink for stamping detail things like this, like days of the week stamps, if I'm stamping directly on white paper. If I was stamping on photo paper or something, I would still use StazOn or StazOn or archival ink, but since I'm stamping on plain white paper, the Versafine gives me that really crisp image. I don't have to prime the stamps. I got like a perfect stamping the first go around, and now I'm going in and I'm stamping my numbers. And the good thing about this stamp set is it has the days of the week and the numbers on the same set, so I don't have to look for two different sets. I can just coordinate it. And the ink I'm using is from Ali Edwards' shop. It is called Rose Garden. I recently went in and purchased a few of the Crafters inks because I didn't have any, and I kept hearing such good things about them. So I went in and I purchased a few of the Crafters inks, and I honestly don't know how I lived without them. Like, I'm not an ink connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination. Like, you guys know I say this all the time. I am not a stamper. I just pretend to be one on TV. So I'm not an ink connoisseur, but I don't know how I lived without these inks. These inks are amazing. They're super juicy. They have that, like, I think it's a felt pad. Here we go. Here's me pretending to be a stamper and pretending to know what I'm talking about. But I think it's like a felt pad on these, and they're just super juicy, and they're beautiful colors, and they stamp really nicely. I used a few of the colors on a layout that I made that, actually, you guys will have seen that because this is going up after that. I used a few of those colors on another layout, and I had such good stamping impressions the first time around that I need to just use these inks forever. Honestly, if you don't have a few of the Ali Edwards inks, they're really, I'm not just saying that because I'm on her creative team, because I actually bought those with my own money, and I'm going to go in and get all the colors that I don't have. Now, I don't know why I'm scrolling while I'm supposed to be making something. I should have edited this better. This is what I'm doing while I'm making, but I have the Studio Calico Bookish kit, and this was from April of last year. So you'll notice that it is not very quote-unquote January colored, but I loved the kit anyway because I had a few screenshots of things that I was reading or podcasts that I was listening to. And I am okay with my kits not being, a lot of the kit was seasonal, don't get me wrong. There were, I couldn't use the stamp set. Actually, I could have. Who was stopping me? But the stamp set was really floral themed. And so I chose not to use it, but I loved the colors and I loved the sentiments on the cards. So you see, I pulled up that photo that I had on my phone, and I used the photo to help me rearrange the cards and the photos the way I had it the first time. But that red card says stop and take note of these moments, and I loved the falling down aspect of it. The one underneath it says story of my life, and it has books, and I'm a huge reader, you guys. So I was obsessed with this kit. I was obsessed with these cards. I will probably use it again when springtime rolls around, because then I'll be able to actually use the stamps and the floral stuff in the kit. But I actually made a lot of this kit work for it not being a floral layout. It's January stories, and I made a lot of the kit work. And I showed you in my Photoshop workflow how I do the journaling on the cards, so everything is just done. You guys, there is no thinking about journaling. Everything is done. So once I get to this place, it is literally just embellishing. There is no real thought process to where things go. It is just embellishing. So I pulled out that ColorCast Designs pack of the months of the year titles that I use in my last memory keeping spread. I have a few more Januaries left, and next week is going to be February, which means I got to find some other way to use those up on future spreads. But I picked out that big scripty font for the January because I knew that I was putting the huge 4 on the sidebar to signify that it was week 4. I figured I could just use that January in that empty space so I have those 2 journaling cards. And then I pulled out a few of the wood veneer circles. I will link everything in the description box. The ones I pulled out said Happy Heart and You Make Me Laugh. And let's see, I think I only had 2 this time. Yeah, I only had 2 this time. So I am just working on embellishing. So the documenter kit came with these like fun tag die cuts, and a lot of them were book related. So I thought it'd be fun to layer them in my sidebar. So I ended up using a pink one that said due date, and that green one says I like big books and I cannot lie. And if you read that and you did not hear Sir Mix-a-Lot singing it in your head, go back and do it over. But I love the color and I love the sentiment. And then I realized that I did this again last week. I did not print out a card for my sidebar. So I went in to the pack of cards and I found that really fun yellow striped pattern, which was just a striped pattern, and I cut it down to 2 inches. Same thing that I did last week, which I'm probably going to end up doing forever and ever because I never remember to put something in the sidebar when I'm designing my layout. And then I just layered those tags over it, and I ended up putting the wood veneer in the sidebar because I felt like it would ground the layout. Also, it gave me 3 places to use wood veneer on the layout. And it didn't force me to use it in a spread. Now, you guys, if you do get this wood veneer pack, be careful. I actually broke my January, and you can kind of see it in the close-up pictures that I'm going to share on my Instagram. When I was fiddling with it, I broke it between, like, right in the end loop because this is really, really delicate. Now, I was able to put it back together and still get it on the page. But if you decide to purchase these, just be gentle with them. You know, use a little finesse, love them a little bit because they're really thin. They're beautiful, but they're just really thin, so be gentle. And now I'm working on filling up that patterned card. Now, if there was like a quote-unquote title card on this spread, like there is on a Project Life spread, it would be this one because it has the month of the year. I just took that chipboard that looked like loose leaf and layered it over, and then the documenter kit came with these fun teal like phrase stickers. So I put the one that says it's the little things and then layered 2 red stars over it, and then decided that that was going to be my repeating element for the spread. So you'll see that I eventually put a few more of those teal stickers down, and I keep putting red stars next to it because I did it in that one place and I was like, this is a great idea. I'm going to keep doing this. So now I'm sticking down my 4. Those chipboard letters came in the kit. I just used some fine line, some glue in my fine line bottle to stick it down. And as I was about to put down that R, I thought it'd be fun to put a little bit more embellishments in the top cluster. So I just layered 2 of those tags from the kit in the top left corner, and then added that R to the top of it. And again, I didn't tell you about any of the stories that I'm documenting this week. So some of the stories I'm documenting are hitting 3K on Instagram because that was amazing. I'm documenting a trip to Michael's, documenting eating macarons for breakfast, documenting a work day, documenting going swimming with Noah, documenting Noah coming to my job. Oh my God, my coworkers loved him, by the way. Noah came to my job and flirted with everybody for like 2 hours and then fell asleep immediately, and everyone loved him. And to this day, everyone's asking me when Noah's coming back to work. Like, Noah has a job. They're like, so when's Noah coming back to work? And I'm like, when his mother decides he can come back. He is not my child. And then I'm documenting scrapbooking on a Sunday. So really small, easy stories, which is why I love this format, because I can tell these smaller stories and they don't feel very high impact. And I love the way this spread looks as a whole. So I'm going ahead and adding a few more of those blue stickers. So I added that one that said details recorded. I added another one that said all you need is a good book right over the picture of the book that I'm reading. And I add one more that says this story. I have a dance break because it wouldn't be me scrapbooking if there wasn't a dance break. And then I go in and add a few more of those red stars. And the only other thing I do is I add some washi because you can't really see it in the video, but I messed up my stamping a tiny bit across the top and got some black ink right across the top. So I go in and add some washi to fill that space and call this layout done, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the quick Photoshop tutorial I gave you at the beginning. I hope you enjoyed this process video. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you are so inclined. If you like memory planning videos, if you want to see more things from me, I am having the most fun making and sharing with you guys. Like, even though December's over, like, I was really worried that I wasn't going to have anything to make and share, and I'm still having the most fun on YouTube. So as long as you guys keep coming back, I will keep sharing things with you all, and we can keep telling stories together. So till the next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the very best day, and I will see you around. Bye!